Hello everybody, Cassie Brown here. Today I'm going to show you how to do calyxes on the back of roses. You're probably thinking, okay, what's a calyx? It is the star shape on the back of a rose. So if I pick this one up here and turn it round, you can see that's what we're aiming for. This beautiful star shape here. So that's called a calyx. You can impress your friends now by telling them that. Right. So what am I going to be using today? I'm going to be talking through a couple of different things. I'm going to use the hearty clay and cutters. I've got a few different cutters here. They're just different brands, but can you see they're all that star shape, slightly pointed as well, and sort of bulbous on the inside and then nice and pointed. That is your lovely Calyx cutter, so that's what we're aiming for. And I personally like them nice and big. I don't know what size that is, but I think it's one of the largest ones you can buy. I think this one, maybe a tad smaller. And you can get them really tiny, minute as well, miniatures. I'm also going to show you how to do them without the cutter. And I've pre-coloured some green here, as you can see. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you making them without a cutter first. But I'm not going to do the full one. So we basically want 5 little pea shapes. That's the first thing. Tiny little pea shapes there, look. And we need 5 of those. Now I'm putting my paste under a container just to keep it dry. Make sure it doesn't dry out, I should say. Get my wording right. Okay, so we roll a ball of paste. Then we're going to roll a cone. But my cone is going to be quite long. Now some of you might struggle to do this, so if you put it on a board, I know I'm doing green on green here, but I will pick it up and show you. I'm just gently rolling it out and making it much longer. Can you see that? It's still a cone shape, but it's much longer. Now I'm using the poly wallet that I've cut up. I'm going to put that inside and squash it down. I know it's green on green, but hopefully you can see that. Now, I tend to just thin around the edges to make the edges nice and thin. And we need to do with this with 5 of them. And then we pull it out. And that is the start of your calyx that you're doing. You slightly curl it back. And I've got a rose here already pre-made. I would attach that to the bottom. Bring it up the edge. Now you can use glue to do this. The Artista Soft that I'm using has already got glue in it, so if it's wet on wet you don't need to add any glue. But that's the one, and you would just add another 4 to make 5 of those. Think of a starfish underneath your rose. That's what we're creating. So I'm going to take that off because I'm actually going to use a cutter and show you that method, because sometimes I find that people find this a little bit tricky. So let's have a look. We get our paste. Now we're going to roll this. Now you can roll it in your poly wallet, or if you've got a non-stick board, even better, use your non-stick board. Now I normally put a little bit of Trex on there, or sort of Nivea cream, something to stop it sticking. So I will actually do that. I'll just put a little bit of the cream on there. This will just stop it from sticking. And this board I've had for such a long time. I used to use this board when I was 13, so it's very old. It's very old and it needs looking after. I would never put these boards, because they're plastic, I would never put them in the dishwasher. They'll start to warp with the heat and with the water. So always look after them by putting either Trex or oil, anything like that on them, because it's much better. Okay, so we've got our ball of paste. We're going to put it down. Now I've got a small rolling pin. If you've got a big one, that's absolutely fine. And we gently start rolling out. Now I do like this to be nice and thin, but you go as thin as you dare. So I'm going to pick that up to show you how quickly it starts turning into quite large. Now I pick it up and move it to make sure it's not sticking actually. There's nothing worse than doing a beautifully rolled out piece of paste and then when you pick it up it breaks. So keep moving it around. Okay, and I pick that up and I can just, if I hold it up to the light, I can just about see daylight through it. So that tells me that that is nice and thin. So I'm going to place it back on my board I'm going to get my cutter and I'm going to push down firmly and just give a little wiggle. Move it round and remove the excess from the edge. Now, any that's left over, we just make sure that we put that to one side and then it's cut out. Now what I am going to do is just nip around the edges like so, giving it a nice clean cut. And then we pop it out. Oh, it's double cut there, that's okay. There we are. So we have our Calyx. Now what we can do is, with a small pair of scissors, we can get the scissors and we can just nip tiny little cuts around the edge. Now this will help to make it look more spiky and more like a Calyx. I tend to do 2 cuts, you can do 1 or 2. We do this all the way around, like so. Hopefully you're getting all this. Can you see those little cuts? Now I put it on the palm of my hand. And then again, my little rolling pin is rounded at one end. So I can very carefully just press down on these edges, like so. Now what this is doing is thinning out the very edge of the paste. So it's going to look more realistic. When you look on a rose, you don't just see a big chunk, do you? It's always nice and thin. So gently go around, like so. Okay, now then, turn it upside down. And then we get our rose. And the wire, I am pushing right into the centre of that cutter. Now, at this point, if your rose is dry and this is drying out, a water brush, a little bit of water or a little bit of glue around the base there, this is actually going to stick because it's still wet, so it's fine. And I'm just gently pressing up, like so. Do it all the way around and put into position. Look at that, nice and simple. You can curl these little bits back because as the rose opens, these do tend to come back a little bit more. So I think that makes it look a little bit more realistic, like so. There's our Calyx. Now, one thing that I personally like to do, just to finish off the rose, is to put the kind of seed pod right at the back. So again, a little bit of paste, not much, about the size of a pea, mix together, make it nice and soft, and then into a ball shape, like so. Now we're going to get our wire and we're going to push in to that cone right in the centre and push up. Again, a little bit of water or a little bit of glue if you want to, and push right up like so. Now you can see at the moment it just looks like a ball, so I am going to pinch just a little bit. I'm actually pushing it up to the rose and then I'm making it into that kind of cone shape at the bottom, because that will make it look much more realistic. Give it a little tweak. There we are. And that is how we do our Calyxes on the back of our rose. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I hope you've learned a little bit of something, and I look forward to teaching you some more soon. Thanks for watching.